And it's good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching us from. And first of all, apologies for the late start of the evening. And thank you for bearing with us. I really appreciate that. Happy celebration today. Today is World Mental Health Day. And joining in here today, thank you so much for being here with us. It is the JNM 1000 talk show. If you'd like to come to this program, do not hesitate. Do call me on 077 423 84052. You can also call us here today in the studio on 0208 0046 100. And here today our topic is on gratitude. And our topic is, again, if I may repeat, is on gratitude. With me here today, I've got a beautiful special guest, and you'll be getting to hear from her throughout the whole evening. We're going to explore this issue of gratitude. You know, what does it mean when you think about gratitude? This week is really, really a special week, because across the whole world, and even in fact this whole month, we are thinking about mental health. And so I thought about this topic and how it shapes up on people and the environment as well. Can people really find happiness? Exploring the magnificent areas of gratitude in our life. And that is why I chose this special guest. I have been following her story, her happiness, she just cheers me, and I felt that this is really, really an important subject. A few weeks back, we had Divine and the sense of abundance, and we had Harry, and of course we had Didi as well. So if you were following this, you would know that I really love to bring such programs here. Watching here today again, your host today is Juliet Mahapila, and of course, I'm your one and only. And today I've got the African Wonder Woman. Look at what the African Wonder Woman is carrying. Oh yes, we have to pat here today. Anyway, introducing you, the guest here today is Sherine. Sherine, welcome to the program.
Oh, welcome. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you for being here with us and agreeing to be here with us. And just to let you know her background, Sherine Lovegrove is an author. And what is your book called?
The Aha Moment.
Aha Moment.
Yes, the Aha Moment.
Thank you for that. And she is also a neuro-directed psychotherapist, feminine coach, and speaker. I'm waiting to hear more about that. Sherine has got over 20 years experience, clinical experience in the area of health and well-being, and believes that most problems persist because of unresolved childhood traumas. We'll be hearing more about that. Also, how people experience trauma has a lot to do with their gender, birth order, where they sit in the family dynamics, genetic, cultural, and social environment. She believes that we have the best chance of healing those traumas when we address them at the level of its first imprint. She specializes in helping sensitive, empathic women that are stressed, overwhelmed, and depleted to become emboldened, powerful, and purposeful. I love that word. You see, so that they can regain their sovereignty and again walk along the path of the wise woman. Sherine believes every woman must uplift all women, and in doing are able to reach our true potential and self-actualize. To uplift, we must embrace all that is us, she puts it, and leave nothing of ourselves behind, and that when we ignite our innate feminine potentials, which have the effect of immediately catalyzing ourselves towards our deepest yearnings, our true destiny. Her personal mission is to help women understand that we are not defined by our genes, physiology, or our cultural past, that it is changeable, that we have it all, and moreover, that we can create the future that we want. She is an inspirational speaker, workshop leader, offers group and individual coaching, has a method to help women and men find their place in the world and become an inspiration to others. She is also registered with the following professional bodies: BPS, RSM, UKCP, NLPTCA, CNHC, ACPIRT, EHA, and EMDR UK. Welcome to the program, and thank you. So, we'll start off just by gratitude, and getting to know the happiness that I see. Tell us a little bit about your day-to-day life, like just, I see you running sometimes and walking. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think one of the things about a day-to-day is really having routine, isn't it? And I think when we have routine, we're able to be, we're able to manage life a lot better. If you're not having to worry about every second moment, you're more likely to be able to find time in between those moments to be creative.
Yes.
And I think that is, a really good plus in getting us happy. When we start worrying about what it is that we need to do next, or we start having moments where we can't see our future in the clarity that we would like, we start to compare ourselves with others. Or we look at others and we think, oh, how bad are we? And we go into those terrible places. So I think, for being happiness is really about managing your mindset.
Managing your mindset. We talk about attitude. And I'm coming to gratitude. What is gratitude in your views?
Gratitude. Wow. That's
it's a heavy subject, I know.
It's a massively heavy subject.
It is a massive subject as we go along. What is gratitude? Could you send us your comments in here today? What is gratitude, viewers, if you're watching me here today? What is gratitude in your life? Please send in your comments,
Yeah, I mean, I think when I think about the word gratitude, it really is about being grateful. Okay, grateful. But it's got a very much deeper level, a much deeper meaning. There's a real big difference between appreciation and gratitude. And I'm the kind of person that likes to understand the kind of complexity, rather the structure of something. And what I sort of think about, when you think about you appreciating, you're looking at it, at you loving it, but you may not totally be involved in it. You may love it and you may get into that feeling, but it may not really take you to the space where you're in that.
You really want that.
But when you're in gratitude, gratitude requires a very much deeper space. And for me, when we feel gratitude, or when you experience gratitude, maybe to explain a sense, I don't know whether anybody knows about the Ho'oponopono, which is a kind of a prayer that I do every day, actually, and I did it just before I came on.
Say it again, Sophia.
The Ho'oponopono.
Okay, I can't say it. The
Ho'oponopono.
All right.
Yeah. This particular one really is a very short step where you say, something like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you.
And now, depending on, to the channels?
You're speaking to the channels, but you're actually talking on lots of levels, energetic levels within the body. And part of the gratitude of that is being able to go, okay, I deserve to receive. And a lot of people don't feel they they deserve to receive. And when you actually have that moment of receiving, it's like you see yourself.
Yes.
You see yourself, and I think I'm quite spiritual, so I would say it's like I'm connecting with God in that moment.
Okay. And this issue about God, but we're coming to that, especially in the West, when you say God, it brings another
dimension.
Yeah. But we're coming to that. So can people understand gratitude? Do you think people can really ever understand gratitude in your views?
I think it's a challenge. I can honestly say in my background, my personal history, I had quite a lot of times where I couldn't feel gratitude.
Okay.
I felt kind of very much the left out child.
Right.
And so therefore for me, I didn't know how to be grateful.
Right.
And that caused a lot of trouble in my life.
Yes.
Because people do like to feel appreciated.
Right.
All right. So that's where the difference is. We want to feel appreciated. That's kind of like we're relying on something. Whereas gratitude is not about relying. It's a knowing. It's a knowing we deserve.
Yes.
And it's a very different place. And
the feeling.
It's a feeling. It's deeper, much deeper. It's much deeper.
It's like you've detoxed and then you sort of like
exactly.
Like just
exactly. Yeah.
Connecting.
Yeah.
This kind of channeling.
I mean, I think if someone just takes a moment to really think about a moment where they were just absolutely, truly, truly grateful, and then think about a time when they were really, really appreciative, just kind of see if they can notice the subtle differences. You probably will notice that with appreciation, you're appreciating, and it's kind of like an outward thing, whereas with gratitude, you go, it's that kind of feeling. Connection. It's also got a higher coherence level.
And how complex is this in our heads and in our everyday life? So how complex, as you're explaining, what do you think happens during this sort of like feelings?
Well, the heart is a really important organ.
Okay.
We know that the heart has a coherence which is very, very strong, and it has, because we're designed, when we evolved, we were first in body, and then we kind of evolved in our mind. We started to develop more complexity.
Right.
And what happened was our heart was still always there, and it had a very strong vibration. So, for example, if someone walks in here or they drop something, you go, boof! Okay, everything. Exactly. Everything stops, and you're primed. Now, to override that takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy. So it can take quite a lot of energy for our brain to actually come down. So the brain energy is not as strong as the heart energy.
Right.
But when we bring our brain energy down into our heart, something happens. Our heart magnifies.
Right.
And behind our heart
is the love. I can see you wearing something.
I'm wearing a heart today. Yes.
I can see a heart chakra.
Very specially.
Yes. Very beautiful.
But thank you very much. The heart chakra, behind the heart sits the thymus gland.
Okay.
And the thymus gland actually, as we get older, often reduces. But we know that if we work with a heart resonance, it actually stays there.
Wow.
And the thymus gland tells us the difference between me and not me.
Oh, wow.
So when we love and we're in that state of gratitude, there's no separation between you and me.
Right.
So it goes to a very high order of energy.
And we were saying earlier on, is gratitude confused with appreciation? Just to appreciate Heritage TV, Mr. Ade Thomas. Thank you so much for the technical team behind this. And if you're calling here today, it's 0200 846 100. If you'd like to come to this show, please call us as well on 077 423 84052. I'll repeat that number again, 077 423 84052. And it's the JNM 1000 Talk Show, the show of social, economic, humanity, and of course community development, all embedded in. And we are saying, so you're talking about the gratitude, and you're explaining to us the science behind that. So when people are not sort of in love, what happens with gratitude?
I think sometimes what can happen when we're not in love, or if we have someone in our life, a lot of the time we forget that we forget the little things. We forget to be grateful.
Right.
We forget to look at them, because what often happens, you know, that thing of what is it? Familiarity breeds contempt.
Oh, yes.
What often happens, we become
and taking for granted.
Exactly,
certain things,
exactly.
No boundaries.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yes.
very big. It's funny how boundaries are so interesting.
Yes.
But what happens is you don't remember to say thank you. And you don't remember to appreciate, and tell people that you appreciate, so they don't feel valued.
Right.
And so when they don't feel valued, it's much harder for them to value you.
Right.
Yeah? Because what happens is you set up all your old patterns.
Right.
You know, we've all grown up with experiences, and in those experiences we learn to cope.
And Hashi says that how many of us daily, sometimes we just forget, sometimes if you don't even mean to, but you're so tired, or you just like value every single person, and you know that you're valuing, but you know you forget to say thank you. So we're all guilty sometimes of this. And thank you and gratitude go hand in hand. Okay, interesting with that. So can human beings learn to have gratitude, or is it something that unconsciously people cannot experience?
I think, now that's interesting, because that might go into certain things, which is about how our body is designed and why men and women may feel and experience differently.
Let's explore for people to know. Does that bring us to the thinking of men and women and all that?
Yeah, it can. And it doesn't mean to say that we are that different, because women and we are both in essence.
Yeah.
But women and men are different. From the first 8 weeks of life in uterus, we are feminine.
Right.
And then testosterone kicks in when you've got the male gene, and that
the X cross,
the Y chromosome,
the
Y chromosome, and so therefore we're now not a 2X, we're an XY. And what happens then is that testosterone actively inhibits areas that are about connectivity to the body.
Are you saying gratitude then starts from the womb? Would we argue that? That's an interesting one.
Yes. I hadn't even thought about that. My goodness me!
You that one.
But you know, you can actually work it out. If you think that on an average, that part of gratitude is the ability to be able to get very deep to your heart, deep to your soul, then you need to increase those connections that go to your body.
And be able to meditate.
Yes, exactly. And compassionate meditation helps gratitude. But what is important is that, you know, in general, depending on how we are brought up, we will develop greater or lesser connections to this part of our body.
Fantastic.
So it can be more challenging for people that are more disconnected, because they're not able to get into their body, and they can't. Often what happens when you're disconnected because you've learned, because it's too frightening to be connected. So you literally jump out of yourself. And then having the connection, learning to come back into connection, is learning to understand and be with that feeling, which can be very uncomfortable to start. But actually, when you start
learning that skill as well.
Exactly, it's a skill.
It's a skill as well, isn't it? You need to practice and practice.
You're not naturally grateful. I don't think anybody's naturally grateful. Every child learns by saying thank you, so it models it. You know, models what the mother says, and the mother says, okay, you say grateful. You know, say thank you. So they learn that if they say thank you, then someone is happy. Or if they give praise, they learn someone's happy. So they learn how to be grateful.
And that then shapes us into gratitude. Sort of. And we're coming to culture. Different cultures may experience this word differently. Think about maybe, is it Zambia and South Africa? Maybe and UK, and what's your thought on it, on how, you know, think about both countries, say like in Africa and UK here. Do you think the same experience of gratitude is the same?
Okay, I think that the more westernized we've become, the more disconnected we've become. So In essence, we've moved more into the masculine side of our brain,
Right.
which is very much not connected to our heart feeling.
Interesting views.
So yes, so we have to learn to actually come back into our bodies.
Okay.
So, but in Africa, people are much more embodied.
Okay.
So therefore, they
And I
are
remember
more likely to appreciate.
when we met in IOD, you were quite, telling me in Africa we're quite happy and vibrant and everything. So it's interesting you bring those comments. And what about the Christianity? You were talking about God. How would you compare the issues in godliness and in not God? Let me not say godliness, but the practice of worship or interfaith across Africa and here. What's your views on gratitude with that?
Well, I think
because here we are seeing more disconnection, as you're sort of saying.
Yeah. Well, I think here we've got more disconnection and actually less idea of an organized religion or spiritualism. So I think people are trying to find their way.
Okay.
They're trying to find their way to their inner source, their goddess or god. They're trying to find that space which is allowing them to be, well, I would believe this, that finding their way home back to themselves.
Divinity.
To their divinity. Because we are the reflection of God.
Yes.
God is in us.
Yes.
God is everywhere.
And if you bring this subject in the West, sometimes, especially when it's the subject of God, I think I've got a book here. This one was written by Martin. I want to appreciate Martin Barth. He talks about conflict and the God universe. Martin Barth, we appreciate you. And I believe he was searching himself.
Yeah.
And he was searching who God is. And he is a physicist, if I may say that. And so as you speak about that, it reminds me about that book.
I do remember when I first had a sort of a mystical experience, that I started to realize my Catholic beliefs of God were very different from what I was now experiencing.
Okay.
And we know that from a neuro perspective, that Ramachandran was one of the neuroscientists that said I can create God. God's in the brain.
Right.
Which makes a little bit of sense when we say heaven and earth.
Okay.
Yeah. Because heaven is where thoughts are and things, and we bring heaven down to earth to create and to be. So the idea that we are able, in essence, to be able to come to some sort of idea what God is, can cause a lot of conflict. It caused huge amounts of conflict for me, because I had to undo all the beliefs that I had about God.
Yes.
You know.
And just to bring it back here to the issue of, tell us more in line with your work. How do you use gratitude to improve health?
Well, remember I said to you that that one of the things is the idea of appreciation and gratitude. So gratitude, by the way, just to let you know, that gratitude has what we would call a 900 hertz. So it's right up towards the God consciousness.
Okay.
So the more grateful you are, the closer you're getting to the God conscious state.
Oh, really?
And that's the state where you're in absolute coherent, the whole way, a coherent brainwave.
Wonderful.
Appreciation is only 780. So it's lower down. And love is only 500, believe it or not.
Wow.
So we know that there's big differences between these frequencies. Now,
And tell people what frequencies are so that people can understand when you talk about frequencies and how that is sort of like connected.
Okay.
There's a science behind it. I'm an educator as well, so I love people.
Well, yes, that's true. And which is good, because this is really important. Frequencies are basically resonances. So if you think about, if you hold a piece of string, and you pull the string, you've got 2 points, and you pull the string, then you'll have kind of a wave, and that will give you a sound. You shorten, you then shorten it, and you do that again, and you'll get a sound. So these will make harmonic sounds. And then you will have different, and as those waves move, they will either cause an increase when they join together at the same frequency or the same sort of movement. They will increase, and or they will cancel out. Right, so it's almost So that's what.
So you can see, I always tell people science as well comes in, social issues, and these issues, sociological matters, as you can see. But does science and gratitude, and I know we're already talking about God, but that was the next question. Does science and gratitude bring God in the same?
Yes.
With gratitude.
Yes. I think science, I think when you start to get to look at science in like the quantum science.
Yes, so yeah.
So quantum physics, or
that.
where actually things and at the very, very big areas and the very small areas don't obey Newtonian law. Okay, so Newtonian law is if I drop this, it'll fall. But, and that's gravity, but gravity doesn't behave the same at the very tiny, tiny molecular level or below molecular level, so in the atomic level, or out in space, because gravity is bent out in space. So you have a very different perspective. So the worlds will respond differently. And if you can appreciate that there is this real difference, then it means that what we thought was real is not real anymore.
Wow.
So we have to rethink the whole idea.
With ourselves.
And the world of quantum physics now is, yes, they're basically looking at the art of physics. Because now they're saying, okay, there's a science, we can look at it, but the science is all about consciousness.
Yes.
Because consciousness is the ground of all being. It allows all possibility to happen in everything.
I thank you for that. I think that deserves a bell for that. So consciousness allows everything.
Allows the possibility
for
everything.
For everything. I love that. Now, how does gratitude help our healing?
Well, remember I said earlier on that we actually have basically the thymus gland behind that. And the thymus gland is that part that says you are not me, me and not me.
Yes.
And that part is all about our immune system.
And that improves our immune system.
Yes, so it gives it resilience.
Yes.
Because what happens is when we are out of alignment, out of disconnection in the ways that we may be, what will happen is we'll go into stress.
Okay.
And the moment we go into stress, well, the whole body is activated now to make you survive.
Yeah.
It's not interested, it goes into something called the fight, flight, freeze mechanism. So let's get the heck out of here. And is not really interested in feeding or in reproducing. Right? Rest, repair, and reproduce. It's not interested in that.
Interesting.
So you want to get the body back into that state of rest, repair, and reproduce, so that your cells can reproduce and reproduce well. When you're stressed, what happens is you're actually not repairing and you're not changing things. So what happens is you're producing more cells that become dysfunctional.
Which is not good.
Not good.
Yes.
No.
And we want us to learn how to have gratitude. This show is all about education as well. So if you're watching here today live, please do call us on 020-846-100. Thank you so much, Mr. Koiki. I can see you're watching. Koiki Media, thank you so much, who shared our Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and I saw that you shared our post here today. And thank you so much to Heritage TV. If you'd like to come to the show as well, please do book in your show. How can people learn to have gratitude? And I know I asked you this earlier on.
Yeah.
This is science. How can people in a very busy world here in the Western world, here in UK, how can people stop to learn how to think about gratitude? Because when it comes to gratitude and we say God, we bring the spirituality, it's like there's a mental blockage.
Yeah.
So how do you bring this kind of conversation? What is your suggestion?
Well, I think that you have to start with yourself.
Yes.
Okay, you have to start with yourself. And there was something that is really important, is that every time we talk, we are hearing ourselves.
Yes.
All right. So even if we're saying bad things about everybody else, literally we're reflecting that in ourselves.
Right.
So a good thing, first of all, is to pay attention to what you're thinking. so that you're not saying things that you're hearing those negative things jumping back at you.
Right.
Because the only reason you're saying them, because at some point it's all about you.
Yes.
That's the part of the quantum physics, which is your external reality is really mirroring
what
your inner reality is. Okay.
Right.
So that's one of the things you've got to do. You've got to acknowledge the moment and go, okay, I'm making a choice here. I'm choosing now that I'm going to be aware of my thinking because I want to change it.
Yes.
All right. So maybe I'm going to just for the start with a small thing. Don't do big things.
Yes.
Small little steps have magnificent effects.
Yes.
It's the big steps and then not doing it. The brain then kind of loses impetus to do it again.
Right.
So it's really important to be consistent with something small, and then you'll jump in big jumps.
Yes.
So maybe
and especially
just
for women as well.
Yes, absolutely. Because our lives are busy.
Yes, yeah.
Our lives are busy. So think about where you would like to say thank you every day to something.
Yes.
So it may be that I always believe you should say thank you to yourself first.
Right.
So when you wake up in the morning, the first thing is to say thank you.
Say thank you to yourself.
Thank you.
Every morning.
Yes.
When you wake up.
Thank you. And
I always say thank you to my Creator.
Yeah.
I just wake up and I say thank you. Today is a new day.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people might find that. I mean, it depends on everybody. I think you have to find the thing that is going to make the most feeling in you.
Okay.
Because gratitude is about getting to the feeling.
Right.
The feeling of absolute, total bliss. The bliss state is what we're aiming for. The bliss state is when we have the God consciousness.
Right.
And when we're able...
The highest consciousness.
The highest consciousness. Yeah. It's the consciousness where our brain functions as one. Now we have lots of systems in our brain that actually, we think we're one person, but actually we've got lots of us's going on.
What would be happening during that state? When you're the feeling of consciousness, what do you think would be happening? Is it the absence of
It's almost pure joy.
Pure joy.
Pure joy
Yes.
of just, you would feel a charge through every cell in your body.
Okay.
Literally a charge the whole way, but you have this clarity and you wouldn't hear something.
Yes.
You certainly will hear it. I mean, right now there's a lot of research being done on LSD because they're realizing that actually we can stop a lot of unhelpful behaviors by giving people a mystical experience.
Oh, interesting.
Preparing them, but getting them to that mystical experience where they experience this oneness, this potentiality of possibility.
Yes.
And when people have this idea that this is there for them, it's their right to have it, they're more likely to pay attention and do what they need to do in order to get it. Yeah? So you're giving them what the vision is, what the potential of the vision is, and then when they come back, they know they've got to do the steps, but they know they can get there.
Yes.
So they start to work consistently with the little steps. One of the things that for me, when I was really very young, I remember...
And where were you living that time?
I was living in Livingston at the time.
Okay.
I was getting my Holy Communion.
Is that in Zambia?
In Zambia, in Livingston, near the Victoria Falls.
Oh yeah, wow, that's a beautiful place.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Oh, it was the most beautiful part.
Yes.
I'd say that's probably one of the best parts.
Who was the president at the time?
Kaunda.
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 Oh, Kaunda Kenneth.
Kenneth, yeah.
Pan-Africanism. Since you brought Kaunda, I love to celebrate.
You always used to have that.
I love to celebrate all the Pan-African presidents. Yeah, thank you for that.
And yes, I do remember going. We were told that when we watch the priest hold up, and says, body of Christ or whatever, to in that moment imagine that God or Christ was there in the physicality, in the physicality, and say thank you.
Okay.
And it brings you to tears.
Yes.
But it also connects you.
Yes.
Because it's opening that chakra. So what happens is you start to feel bigger in your space.
Absolutely.
And that's what gratitude does. It makes you feel bigger. It starts to fill your whole being out.
Yes. And we are discussing about gratitude and the law of attraction. And you're now busy telling us about the connection and what your views are. And thanks to that, I've got a question coming from Kenya, I believe, and somebody is asking is, in Africa, how would people practice gratitude? And I think you've answered that, but in Africa, how would people practice? Is it the same as faith? I think that's what they're trying to ask.
I think that they can be very similar. I think it depends on how are you consciously working with your faith, and are you? I mean, there's two things. Are you just following in your faith,
right,
or are you taking an active step in your faith? So are you like I gave the example of where I would imagine the blood and thing of Christ was the embodiment of that.
Yes.
And I would say thank you for that, because in that moment, that was how I felt the pain of Christ on the cross. All right. So I was empathizing or having that extreme state of empathy with Christ and saying, thank you for dying.
Yes.
I know that was horrible for you, but thank you because that gave me this.
Yes. And
now,
your belief system as well.
It was a belief system, but it's a conscious choice.
Yes.
A lot of other people won't be doing that.
Yes.
But I was sitting there and I was going, okay, so my teacher said this might be a good idea to try.
Yeah.
And so that's the conscious aspect. So you're doing something slightly different from what you would ordinarily do. So then you're practicing the muscle of gratitude. Yeah.
Which is very different from appreciation, sort of like. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's the. Whoa. As I said, it's a lower frequency appreciation.
Yes,
You don't have to be grateful to appreciate. You can enjoy and appreciate. You can enjoy food and truly appreciate, but you don't have to be grateful for it.
I like to say, as you're saying, that I'm thinking about like and love.
Yes.
You know, you like something, but you love something. Ideally, love something. You have to like first before you really fall in love.
Yeah.
When you love something, you really start polishing. You like it's just there. I like it. You know, I like my bell. Actually, now I love my bell. Anyway.
Your bell is you.
My bell is me. We're taking a break here. And as we come back, please call us on 0208 846 100. We'd love to appreciate Heritage Television, which is where we air this program, and also please support with studios as well, and like my African Wonder page as well. Taking a break right now. Thank you.
Hello, Sister Joy.
Alhaja.
Sister Joy, every time I see prophetess these days, her skin just dey glow like newborn baby.
No be only you notice that oh.
Hello, prophetess.
Hello, friend. Prophetess, today, you have to tell us the secret of this everlasting beauty. Oh.
That is not a secret, oh, my sisters. Wendy Glow Cosmetic Series is my all in all, from facial scrubs to stretch mark remover. Trust Wendy Glow to have a solution for your skin. All their products are personalized to your skin conditions, and you will see a visible difference within a short time. Currently, they are giving 10% discount by mentioning Wendy HTV.
Abeg, take me there now. I no wan party again until I start using Wendy Glow.
Me, I want to party. This is their details. Telephone 01634 936 728. Mobile number 07403 251 543. Website www.wendysglowcosmetics.com. Email info@wendysglowcosmetics.com. Wendy Glow Cosmetics will help you wear less makeup.
And welcome back to the JNM talk show. If you'd like to come back, if you're here with us here today, we are talking about gratitude. And our guest here today is Sherine Lovegrove. So if you've been listening, she's busy explaining to us how we even fall in love with this word gratitude. And she's talking about being thankful to yourself So if you're watching here today as well, what is your hashtag if people would like to follow you?
It's Twitter one is at Feminine Rising, yeah.
At Feminine
Arising.
Arising, yes.
And there's Instagram, which is just Sherine Lovegrove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's an author, so I'm going to come back and just talk about her book. Tell us about your book and what motivated you to write your book.
The one that I talked about, the aha moment.
Yes,
Yes, that was the one, because I have a second one, which I said
is
coming out hopefully next year soon,
Mm-hmm.
early in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So the book, the aha moment, was
and how it really started. Take us back.
Yeah. Okay. So the aha moment happened. In fact, I didn't. I was deciding that I wanted to lose weight.
Okay.
And I hadn't. I was really very much overweight. I was 44 pounds overweight, and I was really struggling.
Okay.
I was struggling, and
at that time, could you feel gratitude?
I was not feeling a lot of gratitude at all, I must say. But there was.
Or did you know about gratitude?
Well, I did know about gratitude, but I hadn't incorporated it into my life a lot. And definitely I was still going through places where I was also trying to resolve a lot of my own stuff.
Okay. I call it detoxing.
Yeah, detoxing. Absolutely, I love that word.
Okay.
Love that word. So I'll think about all my times of detoxing. Yes. I've been doing a lot of that recently. Because it's funny, every time you write, it's like going back into the journey of the soul.
Okay.
So I had a situation where I was not able to actually start getting on the process of dieting, and I also realized that I was struggling and that I didn't want to be in the same place. I didn't want to have to go on a serious diet again, ever. I wanted a strategy, I wanted a regime that I could maintain, and if I did go off track, I'd be able to get back on. Okay. And also be kind to myself. Yes. Understand a lot of the stuff. So what happened was I then realized that there was a sequence that came about. What I thought, well, okay, what I'll start doing is I will start asking myself, what do I need to do? And I just kept asking, how can I lose weight? Okay. How can I lose weight that's easy, effortless, and sustainable? And that's all I asked for. Every night. Yes. That's what I did. And then I had a situation where I was standing in the mirror one day, and I was looking at my features, and all of a sudden my mother, image of my mother landed on me, and I thought, oh my goodness me. And she had lost a huge amount of weight in intensive care, and what had happened, she had ballooned, right? And her skin had stretched. And what she was doing was the skin was floating around her. But I'd remembered seeing her do that, so this was a memory that I somehow sort of connected and fell into. And in this image, she was looking at me, and I realized that I had to do something. This was the D-Day. There was no denying. Yes. Because when we're in...
So it's accepting, first of all.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have to come out of the delusion. Where are we deceiving, distorting, or distracting ourselves? Or you can say, where are we deceiving, deluding, or denying to ourselves the fact that we have to change?
We've got to be sincere to ourselves.
We have to. And then we may have that, but we have to then acknowledge and go, you know what? I would have liked this to be different, but this is where I am. Yes. This is where I am. And then think about, okay, if I'm going to change, what are my criteria? Yes. So I said I wanted it to be effortless, easy, and manageable. So I needed to be able to maintain that. Yes. So I went on, all of a sudden, it was crazy. I'd given the universe a job.
Yes, law of attraction.
The law of attraction. The law of attraction. There we are, we've answered it. Yes. The law of attraction happened, and guess what? Yes. All of a sudden, I started to see so many programs on weight loss. Yes. So many programs.
It's interesting.
Yeah, and I wasn't even paying attention, but it was coming in. And I thought, wow, this is interesting. And then I had one evening where I watched Michael Mosley on TV.
Okay. We appreciate Michael
Dr. Michael Mosley.
Yes.
He's a doctor that is on TV. Does a lot of the medical. Trust me.
Thank you. Yeah.
And he was talking about fasting.
Mm-hmm.
So he was talking about the 5-2 and the 4-day fast
Right.
for a detox.
Yes,
For
yeah.
the detox. And what he found out was that he had lost a lot of weight doing the 5-2.
Right.
And he didn't have to do it in 2 days in a row.
Okay.
So the 5-2 is you lessen your calories. You
Yes.
restrict your calories for 2 days in the week.
Okay.
5 days you can eat.
But you just eat a very good balanced
Very
meal.
small. Yeah.
But smaller portions you cut down.
5-2 you'll have about 500 calories in
Okay.
those 2 days. That's all. And then after that you can eat normally if you want.
Right.
The whole aim is that over a week you will restrict. But the thing is, when you fast, your body goes into repair.
Okay.
So you're not eating, so your body goes, okay, now I can do things.
Were you eating meat at that time?
I was eating meat.
Okay,
yeah.
everything fish and
I was eating everything. I did not want to be in the space where I was going to not eat food.
Right.
I wanted my cake and I wanted to damn well eat it.
Gratitude.
I was
so
going
you
to have
enjoy
that.
with gratitude. You love your food.
And he said
Yes.
something which was for me that I found that
Yes.
hunger comes and goes. And he said something like, the hunger comes and goes. And I thought, and at that moment, it was like everything just fell into place. I remembered I'd been, as a nurse, I used to go for hours without eating.
Yes.
And so I never bothered.
Yes.
So it was easy if
Yes.
I managed it, if I knew how to manage those 2 days. And it was only 2 days a week,
Okay.
you know.
That was
So
interesting.
I then decided, I planned how I'd go on diet.
Okay.
So I'd go into this regime, and I sort of took about 2 weeks planning, asking my partner,
Yeah.
how can you help me?
Yeah.
What will you do? And I gave him a job to do so
Yes.
that he could plot my weight, and he would sit there and he'd plot it and make nice pretty graphs and make me happy.
Oh, that's
And it made me
nice.
really happy.
Thank you so much to that lovely
Yes.
husband.
Oh yes.
for
He
the
was really, really
acknowledgement.
helpful.
Mhm.
And that was where it started. And it just became very easy. And once because I did the 2 weeks before planning more or less what I was going to do. So when I did start,
Yes.
I was already conditioning my brain
Yes.
to get into the place that I'm going.
Absolutely.
So this is it. When you do little incremental steps
Yes.
and you've given yourself a vision,
Yes.
what will happen is your unconscious mind will pull you. So there's the law of attraction,
Yes.
because it'll pull you towards your goal.
Absolutely. And I call that connecting with your creator.
Yeah.
And to me, when I talk about connecting with creator, I always say different people connect with different people. You know, some people like it to be the sun, some people
Yeah.
like it to be the moon, some people like it to be the creator or God or tree or what. And to me, does it really matter? I think the process is all one and the same. And so that allows you to be grateful.
Yeah.
In essence, it allows you to grow in love. And I believe that love also shapes us.
Yeah.
And appreciation shapes us in a manner that allows us to find ourselves within. But it starts with you, because for you to be able to share love and for people to be able to see, you know, many people are sometimes just trapped, all kind. But I believe it's the love and gratitude that you connect. And it's interesting what you've raised here today. But for those who are joining in here today, again, I've got a fantastic author here today who's just described what led to her book. And again, thank you so much to those who are joining from Kenya. I can see you all Nigeria. I can see you United States. Many, many thanks. Help us to share this video as well. We're talking about gratitude and what it means. Do people understand gratitude, and how does it shape us as a people and environment? Can people find happiness in the 21st century? And we are then exploring the magnificent areas of gratitude in our lives. And as I said here, our guest here today, for those who would miss out, is an author of neuro-directed psychotherapist, feminist coach, and speaker with over 20 years experience in clinical experience in the area of health and well-being. So she's obviously been giving us the the science behind how gratitude is experienced, and this is absolutely amazing, and I'm delighted you've agreed to share this with us.
Thank you.
So we're coming now to the area of books, as we, because I love sharing books. You might not have thought about this. This might be a bit of a surprise, but we've got the Book of Stone, and some people like use stones.
Yeah.
And things like that. Is there any particular stone you like, or do you think about stones or anything?
Well, I love stones. I mean,
Okay.
I love to see it. My birthstone is a garnet. So yeah.
Okay.
So-
And so I'm just looking at this, and I'm just thinking I'm going to appreciate Robert Simon, Naisha Asian, with contribution by Hazel Raven, and gratitude with stones. Do people connect with stones? Do you think people can connect with stones and really have gratitude?
I think. Okay, so I know that.
I mean, yeah. Is it a personal view?
Well, actually, stones are a way of augmenting feeling. Right. So if you think about, it has a stone, depending on the kind of crystal or the kind of stone you're using and how you're directing the attention.
Yes.
It's got an energy. It's an energy of pulling from somewhere and releasing. So if you're thinking about gratitude, what you're doing is you're imbuing the energy of that to make this in you bigger.
Right.
So it will augment
your
it.
heart.
It makes the energy stronger.
Right.
So it's kind of like using it as a catalyst to something. So that's my understanding.
Starting with that. So I'm going to move on quickly to David Wood, who talks about sustainable superabundance. And David Wood is a universal transhumanist invitation. And just a quick one, I'll just say, he says David Wood is one of the best futurists around today, and he's a visionary. And one of the things that I pick up from him is the consciousness beyond humans. So I love what he speaks about consciousness, page 54 of his book. So appreciating David Wood again, Sustainable Superabundance, and we're reading on your page 54 here today, David Wood, if you're watching here today. And he says, transhumanists look forward to greater flourishing, not just of human minds, but of all human-like minds. We look forward to the flourishing of consciousness, not in humans, but in non-humans. And I thought that's such an inspiration in the direction of gratitude. And I think I'll pick beyond the question of suffering. You know, you talked about suffering inflicted on animal by human. There is the question of suffering that animals inflict on each other. Nature red in tooth and claw involves horrendous amount of distress as animal hunt, and but I was just looking at some of the people who've talked about consciousness and this kind of matters. In Africa, sometimes when you say transhumanist, people will look at you and say, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, is that really the case? I mean, most people, when they are on the land, they appreciate the land for the energy that the land brings.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they may not necessarily think of it as another entity, but they will have spirits in there. So I think in Africa we talk about spirits.
Oh, we love it with the African drum as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we know that there is another world.
Absolutely.
We may not necessarily give it the same kind of concrete names that we in the West like to do. So therefore, people wouldn't be doing that because they're living with the land. They're living with that, and they don't need necessarily to differentiate the two because that's part of the world they're living in.
So that is interesting. Pass the book for Paul McKenna there. Have you heard of Paul McKenna?
I have indeed.
Okay, and what do
Very
you
good
think about
hypnotherapist.
Hypnotherapist with gratitude?
Yeah.
Tell us about hypnotherapy with gratitude. Do you think that hypnotherapy brings gratitude as well?
I think anything that allows us to come back into ourselves is going to allow us to have more gratitude. Whether I think when you have that, you still need to consciously work at it.
Yes.
Because it is about systematically learning to create gratitude networks in our brain. All right. So,
and with the right people as well.
yeah,
Because with gratitude, perhaps you need the same kind of
Yeah.
energy level.
no,
It doesn't really matter.
I think that part of gratitude, you can be grateful no matter what,
Okay.
and it's about recognizing that in this moment,
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's happening
Yeah.
is for me to learn,
Mm-hmm.
and be grateful for that moment.
Yes.
It may be hard,
Mhm.
it may be awful,
Yes.
and you may get all your reactions
Mhm.
going up,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
but it's in that moment that you've got to, if you are able, and this is my definition of what I think a sentient human being
Yes. Yeah.
is someone that has the willingness
Yes.
to go, okay, you know, I understand, I want to react,
Yes.
I want to say stuff,
Yes.
but actually I'm gonna just wait.
Yes.
I'm going to wait and take a breath,
Yes.
and I'm just going to, for a moment, send love.
Yes.
Send love and be grateful for this moment,
Yes.
or whatever it is. Because what will often happen
Mhm.
is, because you're very still
Yes.
in that moment,
Mhm.
that person will feel this energy,
Yes.
and they won't want to react because you won't be responding in a, you cannot not respond,
Yes.
no matter what.
Yes.
So if you are responding in a reaction that's kind of driving and escalating it,
Mhm.
then what's going to happen? It just keeps going up. You know, that's why we've got knife crime.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just escalating.
Mm-hmm. And we remember all the children.
Yeah.
And again, today's World Mental Health Day. We celebrate with you all, and we ask you, let's talk mental health. And if you'd like to join me on the studio, again, the number to call is 077 423 84052. And today we are also trying to understand, do people understand gratitude? Do people understand gratitude? And if not, how do we help people to understand gratitude? And that is why I brought Sherine to help us explore this beautiful topic. I love her energy, you know, every morning. Sometimes I just see her waking up, and you know, I love following people who have God's beautiful energy and who bring me that kind of essence of living. Also, if you're following me, it is African Wonder Woman, always wondering and full of wonders as usual. It is African Wonder Woman, always wondering and full of wonders. Also, like my page Facebook. As we draw to the end, I would love to appreciate this beautiful lady. I'm going to be reading her book as well. It's called Empower Yourself to Live an Extraordinary Life, Born to Stand Out, Not to Fit In.
Ah, yes.
That
So
is
easy, isn't it, to fit
right.
in?
And that's Teuta, Avdyli. So I'm going to be reading this. I met her this weekend at Harry event. And I want to also appreciate Lily Patrasco and her book, as well as Peak Performance Sales, and this Turbocharge Yourselves Without Being Pushy. So we appreciate you there, Lily, and thank you for inviting me into your event with Harry. And since we talked about God here today, one of the books, I don't know if you've heard about Norman Robertson, Winners in Christ.
I haven't actually.
Okay, it's Knowing Your True Identity, and I first knew about that book through a friend of mine. I think it was Eileen, but I'll just pick up since we spoke about and just remind myself actually. But I love reading. But for those people who are Christians around the world, it is a book that I first saw. Know Your True Identity, Winners in Christ. We appreciate Norman Robertson over there, and the forward is by Rick Godwin. And we've got a wonderful, lovely Harry. I give you a bell. Harry. Where is my lovely bell here? We give you a bell, Harry, with the work that you do, and we give you the drumming here. Climbing Big Ben, How to Survive, Thrive, and Succeed in London. There you go, Harry, a guidebook to making it big. Thank you so much, Harry Sedina, for your love And thank you so much for celebrating the amount of people and bringing the gratitude towards humanity. I love you for that. And the last book over there is Team Me Up. And Team Me Up is, this one you might actually be interested with this. I met him in one of the events, Brian Tracy. This is a wonderful, it is called Team Me, using archetypes to get out of stuck. And it's Paddy. It's a very dear friend of mine. And what Pad talks about is, he talks about this sovereign. So we are all made under certain characters.
Yes.
Sovereign, warrior, mystic, sage, lover, jester.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Have you heard of that? So it's him who talks about it. So when we're thinking about gratitude, and when you're talking about gratitude, I'm thinking about Pad and how we really ought to be getting into these kind of we need to really go out there and have gratitude. Give us some few tips of how we should go back out there and boost our energy to gratitude as we draw to the end of this program. Thank you so much, Team Me. Paddy, thank you for that. Yes, give us a little bit of some tips of what you think we should be doing to really learn how to have gratitude.
I think there are a couple of things. One is really about learning how you can step into someone else's shoes.
Okay.
That's really important.
Right.
Because when you learn to step into someone else's shoes, you're able to move outside yourself.
Okay.
And you're able to see something from another person's perspective.
Right.
When you're able to do that, then it allows you to see you in another perspective, which means that any kinds of those guilts and judgments and horrible things that you say about yourself to yourself gives you another perspective that someone else may not be seeing you like that. And maybe it's not so true.
Yes.
So that's one way of doing that. And it is learning about how to step into someone else's shoes. So learning compassion for somebody else.
Can people be taught compassion or empathy?
Oh yeah,
okay,
of course, of course. But part of that is you have to use your imagination.
Right.
Part of the God state is imagination because it's about what's potential.
Right.
Yeah. So the more that we go into this imaginary world like a child, we are in this theta state.
Right.
And this theta state is a brainwave state, which is where we give ourselves really good suggestions.
Yes.
That's where everything just goes in to every cell almost. So when we're able to step out and do that, we go into this naturally occurring brain state.
Right.
And that helps to increase our potential to be able to be more compassionate and to be more loving.
Yes.
But also it's about learning how to make sure that you are full.
Yes.
You know, a lot of the time we're spending so much of our lives looking at everything and not really paying attention to ourselves. So we got all the stuff that's just flowing out of our bodies.
Yes.
Right? And we need to bring that back to ourselves so that we can feel big in ourselves. Yeah? But big from a place of knowing we're okay, rather than big that I'm big. Yeah. So come into a place where we know who we are, which we were talking about this Team Me, getting out of your stuff. Know who you are in the archetype, maybe.
Yes.
That can be one of the things.
Yes.
But archetypes really do help you in the sense of getting a sense of another aspect of yourself.
Yes.
And using the power of that aspect that's there, which is very, very useful. So making sure the energy to yourself. So, making sure you have a good night's sleep. I haven't been sleeping very well recently.
Okay.
So having a good night's sleep means you wake up in the morning
and
you're ready to handle most situations.
Okay.
So you're more likely to be kinder.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes. Seriously. You're more likely to be grateful.
Yes.
If you're coming from a place of full than from a place of empty.
Thank you.
So it's really important to do that.
Thank you. And thank you so much, viewers. Would you like to greet your husband, maybe?
Oh, hi. Hi, Andy.
Yes, hi, Andy. And I send greetings to every single
else?
person who has been watching us. If you'd like to continue with this kind of, with this topic, you can find me at JNM 1000, at JNM 1000. If you'd like to come to the studio as well, the number to call is 0208 0046 100. Technical team, we thank you, Mr. Ade Thomas. We love you with your Olori for the work that you're doing in the community. Time now here, people are asking me. And by the way, I acknowledge every single person who's been watching us here today. Sorry, I couldn't really call all your questions and topics. But follow us at JNM 1000. Follow us as well on African Wonder Woman. And of course, like our pages, like the Heritage page, like the African Wonder Woman page, and like the Feminine.
Feminine Writings Twitter or Sherine Lovegrove Happiness Coaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
on Facebook.
And thank you so much all for joining. Until next week, today was all about gratitude with Sherine Lovegrove. I tell you what, it is amazing. Let's keep learning how to be grateful. Let us keep learning how to have gratitude.
Yeah.
And start off with our good morning to thank ourselves.
To thank ourselves, even if it feels really at the first start, because a lot of people do find it very difficult. But to start and say, thank you for just thinking about yourself. That's it. Start with something very simple. It doesn't have to be, I'm so grateful for you. Because as you do it, you start to feel, and that builds that resilience to that part of your heart, so that heart can start to bounce and create a nicer rhythm.
And repair.
And repair, yeah.
And I will leave you with a beautiful quote as well. I learned this, I think last year or this year, but a good friend, he's a Buddhist, is it? Buddhist, yeah. And he said to me one time, the beginning of not wanting is the beginning of happiness. And I will leave you with that. And that came from Nelson, who is David's brother. So I leave you with that. The beginning of not wanting is the beginning of happiness. And at that time I was seated with him. And, even millionaires have their own issues. But I asked him, so what are you talking about? And when I came back home that day, I thought of gratitude. The beginning of not wanting is the beginning of happiness. I leave you with that. Your one and only African Wonder Woman at JNM 1000, at JNM 1000. And please like my page. And thank you very much to the Heritage team. Until next week, Thursday, please join us at the same time, 5 o'clock to 7. We are always talking about something. Send us your topic. The show for humanity, the show for social and economic and community development. We love you all. Until then, it's a goodbye from us. Goodbye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oya kare Shilo, oya ni Shilo ẹ̀jẹ̀ lọ. Oya kare Shilo, oya kare Shilo. Prophet Israeli ló pè ọ́. Oya kare Shilo, Prophet Israeli Yomi Oni ló pè ọ́. Oya kare Shilo, mana bá wòlíì rẹ̀ pàdé oníṣìlò. Ìwọ náà máa bọ̀ wá bá wòlíì rẹ̀ pàdé. These skeletons shall not depart from Judah until Shiloh comes.
Shiloh Worldwide 2019. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, not the ruler staff from between his feet, until he come to whom it belongs, and to him shall be the obedience of the people. Genesis chapter 49 verse 10. We are inviting you to our annual Renaissance. Date Saturday 12 October 2019. Time 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. Rent event started 1 p.m. Featuring praise, prayers, and anointing for excellent ministry, prophetic declaration. Declaration by Superior Evangelist Prophet Dr. Oladele Israel Ogundepe, Unstoppable Genesis. Sound ministration by Lady Evangelist Tokwe Alabi and Evangelist Dr. Imole David from New York City. Compare of the day, Evangelist Ibukune. Word of ministration by Superior Sunday Onobanjo. House of Praise, Manchester City. Venue, Royal Regency Manor Park, 501 High Street, North London, E12, 6th train station, Wood Grange Park, Eastern and Stratford Station, buses 86 and 25 from Stratford Station, free parking on Romford Road. For more information, contact 074-9097-3722. Host Prophet Israel Yomiune. Shiloh Worldwide 2019. Shiloh, where life equations are balanced by the word of God.
This captain shall not depart from Judah until Shiloh comes.